Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies, and this is Circumambulation Rite of, from the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry by Albert G. Mackey. Circumambulation Rite of. Circumambulation is the name given by sacred archaeologists to that religious rite in the ancient initiations, which consisted in a formal procession around the altar or other holy and consecrated object. The same rite exists in Freemasonry. In ancient Greece, when the priests were engaged in the rite of sacrifice, they and the people always walked 3 times around the altar while singing a sacred hymn. In making this procession, great care was taken to move in imitation of the course of the sun. For this purpose, they commenced at the east, and passing on the way of the south to the west, and thence by the north, they arrived at the east again. By this means, as it will be observed, the right hand was always placed to the altar. This ceremony the Greeks called moving, from the right to the right, which was the direction of the motion, and the Romans applied it to the term dextrovorsum or dextrosum, which signifies the same thing. Thus, Plautus makes Palinurus, a character in his comedy of Curculio, saying, "If you would do reverence to the gods, you must turn to the right hand." Gernavius, in commenting on this passage of Plautus, says, in worshiping and praying to the gods, they were accustomed to turn to the right hand. A hymn of Callimachus has been preserved, which is said to have been chanted by the priest of Apollo at Delos while performing this ceremony of circumambulation, the substance of which is, we imitate the example of the sun and follow his benevolent course. Among the Romans, the ceremony of circumambulation was always used in the rites of sacrifice, of expiation or purification. Thus Virgil describes Cornelius as purifying his companions at the funeral of Maecenas by passing 3 times around them while aspersing them with the lustral waters. And to do so conveniently, it was necessary that he should have moved with his right hand towards them. That is, thrice was pure water compressed, he the cruse sprinkling, with olive branch the gentle dew. In fact, so common was it to unite the ceremony of circumambulation with that of expiation or purification, or in other words, to make a circuitous procession in performing the latter rite, that the term lustrati, whose primary meaning is to purify, came at last to be synonymous with circumere, to walk round anything, and hence a purification and a circumambulation were often expressed by the same word. Among the Hindus, the same rite of circumambulation has always been practiced. As an instance, we may cite the ceremonies which are to be performed by a Brahmin upon first rising from the bed in the morning, an accurate account of which has been given by Mr. Colebrook in the 6th volume of his Asiatic Researches. The priest having first adorned the sun, while directing his face to the east, then walks towards the west by the way of the south, saying at the same time, "I follow the course of the sun," which he thus explains, as the sun in his course moves round the world by way of the south, so do I follow that luminary to obtain the benefit arising from a journey round the earth by the way of the south. Lastly, we may refer to the preservation of this rite among the Druids, whose mystical dance around the cairn or sacred stones was nothing more nor less than the rite of circumambulation. On these occasions, the priest also made 3 circuits from east to west by the right hand around the altar or cairn, accompanied by all the worshippers. So sacred was the rite once considered, that we learn from Toland that in the Scottish Isles, once a principal seat of the Druidical region, the people never came to the ancient sacrificing and fire hallowing cairns, but they walked 3 times around them from east to west, according to the course of the sun. This sanctified tour, or round by the south, he observed, is called decil, as the contrary or unhallowed one by the north is called tuafal. And he further remarks that this word decil was derived from dies, the right, understanding hand, and soul, one of the ancient names of the sun. The right hand in this round being ever next the heap. The rite of circumambulation undoubtedly refers to the doctrine of sun worship, because the circumambulation was always made around the sacred place, just as the sun was supposed to move around the earth. And although the dogma of sun worship does not, of course, exist in Freemasonry, we find an allusion to it in the rite of circumambulation, which it preserves, as well as in the position of the officers of a lodge and in the symbol of a point within a circle. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.